smashed it, eh?
Gotta go, pal.
Listen to Harry and make your best bet on the football at 18 plus speakgambleaware.org.
Here's an offer from Volkswagen we think you'll approve of. Get 5.9% APR representative on an all-electric approved used Volkswagen ID4 or ID5 up to 36 months old on Solutions PCP and 2 years servicing. Your Volkswagen approved used retailer will also include 2 years warranty and 2 years roadside assistance as standard. An all-electric ID4 or ID5 to drive away today. What's not to approve of? Don't miss out. Offer ends April 30th. Search Volkswagen approved used ID.
Indemnities may be required. At participating retailers, vehicles up to 100,000 miles of activation. ID4 and ID5 models only. Volkswagen Finance.
DIY heroes. We've got work to do. At Lidl, screwdriver sets are $7.99. Extendable tree loppers are $16.99. And wet-dry vacuum cleaners are just $39.99. Parkside Tools. You've got this. Now exclusively at Lidl. Subject to availability, selected stores, GB only.
Just hearing the sound of something can transport you, taking you to a happy place. The great outdoors. If you like the sound of that, then it's time for Golf Now. Our app is the ultimate golf companion for booking tee times. A few taps on your phone, and you're tapping it in on the green. Sound good? Download Golf Now today.
I love the footy.
Gotta be rugby.
Golf. It's the boxing for me.
Anything can happen.
I absolutely love the darts.
Whatever your sport, Betfred. Check out our huge range of sports markets, daily offers and prize boosts.
I like the Saturday racing, I like the top jockeys, the top horses. All the drama of it.
The Super League.
Everything's just 100 mile an hour.
It's just the whole atmosphere.
Betfred, in-store and online.
Love sport.
Betfred.
18 plus begambleaware.org.
Wednesday night, the Champions League live on TalkSport.
Dortmund versus Paris Saint-Germain.
Well, what was that all about? Support Act starts at 7. Main event from 8 p.m. Wednesday night on TalkSport.
Hi, Danny and Andy. Musical homework. The Walker Brothers. No regrets. Martin Kidderminster. Hope the European winner.
There's no regrets.
The fans all coming out of the woodwork now, aren't they?
No tears goodbye.
Thank you, Martin. Great songs, of course. I think this comes from the Bee Gees song. The lovely basso voices of the Walker Brothers, and No Regrets.
We only cry again. Say goodbye again.
When you get Scott Walker singing this, it's hard to believe that within 15 years he was making records where he's hitting the side of a cardboard packing case with a fish. But that's what he was doing.
Were yours, echo like empty rooms.
Andy, arise to the top level of the podium, take the bullhorn to your lips, France, and a weekend in which our headline is Ligue 37. 37 goals in the normally arid wasteland of the French First Division. Okay, listen, we've lost Andy again there. I could go through these results. We'll come back to him in a second. I need to hear what Andy's got to say. His big moment, and as is the tradition on Trans Europe Express, he's fallen into a hole.
Rival coverage of UEFA Euro 2024 live on TalkSport and TalkSport 2.
Unbelievable.
The biggest football tournament in Europe, driven by the passion and prowess of the world's biggest sports radio station.
Oh, yes!
Broadcasting unmissable output, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week throughout the entire tournament.
What a magnificent finish!
UEFA Euro 2024 Germany, coming soon to TalkSport and TalkSport 2.
Okay, let's have another run at this. Andrew Purcell's been waiting for several years to disprove my theory that some of these games in France can be a bit dry. Our headline is Ligue 37, 37 goals, Andrew. That's a lot. still not there. Let me explain then. All right, let's leave Andy to his great moment has been missed here. Let me explain what went on in France. The big game was the game between Rennes and Brest, and that game ended, get this everybody, in the game of the season in France, Rennes 4, Brest 5. Now, of course, Brest have been doing so brilliantly this season, but they found themselves 2 goals down in 9 minutes. Then they were 4-2 up and managed to blow that before getting their winner in injury time. Now, I don't want to be juvenile or teenage or school playground about this, but if you're going to have a club called Brest and a goal scored late on to win a 9-goal thriller, who better than a player called Brassier to get the goal? It's actually pronounced Brassier, but he did get that goal. So another fantastic result for Brest, and one that almost certainly ensures them Champions League football next season. But it will be Champions League football, people, played in front of very few fans. UEFA have inspected Brest's ground and decided that 3 sides of it are not up to the required standard. They suggest they can go and play other places like Lorient, but Brest, bless them, and really good luck to them, have said no, we're going to play this at our home grounds, which mean that only 5,000 spectators will see their arrival into the senior competition in European football. I think I've done brilliantly there, telling you all about that game between Rennes and Brest, but I'm sure there's a cherry to be put on top of that cake. Andy is back with us. There you are, Andy. Hooray!
I mean, a 9-goal thriller, Danny. I think that is what has made my microphone pack in, because it simply can't believe it. We talked about there being 37
The goal police have got to you, yeah.
Exactly. We talked about there being 37 goals this season, this weekend in Ligue 1. It's actually 40, because we didn't add the goals from Marseille versus Lens. It's taken us all the way up to 40. But yeah, Brest have been brilliant to watch all season, and it looked like they were going down in style for a while, because of course they lost 4-3 at Lyon a couple of weeks ago, having led 3-1. They got Pierre-Lise Melu, their best midfielder, sent off in that. They won the game against Monaco that they lost last week, and then they played a derby at Rennes today with 2-0 down within 9 minutes. They go up 4-2, they lose the lead, and then the great Lilian Brassier, with a diving header that I think Keith Houchin would have been proud of, got the winner right at the end. It's an extraordinary effort from there. And it's not often that I really coaches sitting there and blowing their own trumpet at the end. But Eric Roy sat there in the press conference afterwards and he said, you know what, Ligue 1 is really great to watch at the moment, and a lot of that's down to us. And I wouldn't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, I love you, Andy, but mentions of Keith Houchin on a day like I've just told Jordan, the Lord Derby. No, thank you very, very much. Yeah, look at that old scar now opened up again there on that body. Another game with plenty of goals in it was Lyon 3, Monaco 2, which has titled the race for Champions League places, but also has extended Lyon's incredible run since they decided to stop ponying about in January.
I mean, they're in an extraordinary position now. I mean, we keep on saying the fact that they've got 7 points for the first 14 games. No team has ever stayed up with a total that low before. They are now in with a possibility of Europe through 2 avenues that they could win the French Cup. Okay, they're playing PSG in the final, so it'll be a tall order. Might be domestically Kylian Mbappe's last game in France before he leaves. But also, they've got the chance of doing it through the league. Now, they were temporarily 7th after Malik Fofana's winner against Monaco in that 5-goal thriller, and it really was a thriller. It was a great game, by the way. Despite the fact Lyon went 1-0 onto Wilson Ben Yedder after 22 seconds, they recovered. They're now level on points with Marseille, who are 7th, which will be the Conference League spot. They're 2 points behind Lens, who lost tonight, which is the Europa League spot. So they've got, what, 2-3 opportunities of European football? It's a remarkable, remarkable record. And it was another great game.
Thank you very much. Let me just give you my star of the week in France, Mohamed Cham, who plays for Clermont, and I think it's the first time he's an Austrian midfielder, the first time Clermont have ever had, in my recollection, the star of the week. Of course, Clermont have looked dead and buried at the bottom of the French table, but they're back in it now. Cham scored 2 as Clermont beat Will Still's Reims by 4 goals to 1, if you don't mind. They're still bottom, but now they can see some light at the end of the tunnel. Who's your star of the week, Andy?
No, look, we talked about the bun fight for European football. The Champions League race is alive and kicking. We talked about Monaco, still in second. Brest, still in third. Only a point behind Brest and 3 behind Monaco. Lille, who won 2-1 at Metz this afternoon, coming back from a goal down. And I'm making him star of the week, not just because he scored a banger of a winner, not just because he's one of my favourite players, but no one ever says his name right. Of course, he's the Turkish midfielder, Yusuf Nzuju.
Thank you very much. Still lots to get through. Next we'll be talking about the fight for the heart and soul and mind of European football as Sweden becomes the first country to say no thank you to VAR.
Welcome to 32 Red Online Casino! Incredible! Play over 500 games, including exclusive slots, the Cube, Tipping Point, and I'm a celebrity, get me out of here! Join 32 Red and get a bang tiny welcome bonus up to 150 quid. 150 quid? That's incredible! Visit 32red.com to claim. 18 plus BGambleAware.com. New accounts only. Minimum £10 deposit. Up to 50 times wagering. Max rates apply. Visit 32red.com for full terms.
Good evening, late night revellers. This is the last bus home. The ring is still ringing, and Thai dancing feet via warm fries or a cheeky cheeseburger. Our final destination, as always, is home. Plenty of McDonald's restaurants are open late tonight. See mcdonalds.com for opening times.
This is no ordinary mission. We're here to help carpet fitters bring comfort and luxury into every home. A new carpet deserves the best underlay to keep that brand new carpet look for light years. We're talking Tredair carpet underlay here. We're the Tredair Nauts. And with our range of underlays, we're on a mission to bring comfort and luxury into homes across the universe.
Tredair carpet underlay feels like nothing on earth.
And you join us now with this penalty shootout locked at an unbelievable 19-all.
Yeah, I hope these fans haven't got a train to catch.
2019 now! Oh, this is gonna be a long night.
You're telling me.
Last train home won't wait for penalties. Better get a travel lodge. Find king-size comfort up and down the country at travellodge.co.uk.
You got a little wager with Paddy Power on this one then?
Yeah, mate, big man to score anytime I'm backing him.
Oh, it looks like it's the big man who's coming off. Oh, he's going to struggle to score from the bench, pal.
Oh, tail up, punter, because with Paddy Power's super sub, your bet carries over to the player coming off.
Y'all ready for this?
So now, all subs are super. Paddy Power, football, you're gonna love it. Valid on selected leagues and markets only. Pre-match and in-play bets on qualifying player outcome selections only. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18 plus BGambleAware.org.
Presenting Talk Sports, Masters of On Air, the breakfast show that winks it every morning. Starring Wing Commander Flaps McCoist, Navigator Jet Scramble Kelly, Mid Gunner Gabby Agbon Lahore, Wireless Operator Alan Bone Dome Brazil. It's 6 Beer Squadron. And tail end Charlie Ray Party Parlor.
Oh, yeah.
The Superstars Super Fortress Breakfast chops away. Tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock on TalkSport.
I know.
You don't have to be all star. Speak who you are and stand up proud. Say no.
I hope, with my voice, I often reiterate the fact that I adore the audience of this programme. When things like this happen, I love you even more, because it's so obvious, you just get it. And when you get the best show on the radio of this kind, that's great. Many of you have asked for this. It's the cast of Grange Hill, the old programme about secondary school kids, and their anti-drug song, Just Say No. Among the many of you asked for this, the Crew family, Justin, Fiona, Daniel and James asked for this. They're all massive fans of the show. Thank you very much indeed. Here's the kids from Grange Hill. Now, this we win all the awards. Let's just say no. And Sweden have become the first country to just say no to the creeping terror that is VAR in professional football. Go back to the start of this, Andy. 6, 7 years ago, I was one of those people thumping my head on the table at TalkSport saying that the refereeing in Britain and England had become so poor, we must assist them with technology. Obviously, I didn't know what a mess they were going to make of it. Obviously, it never occurred to me that the actual referees would run VAR, with all the possibility of hierarchical, not corruption, but bias that has brought with it. And I had no idea, though Adrian Durham warned me, that it would take away the instantaneous joy associated with the most wonderful thing about football, which is a goal. Now, clearly, it's going to take a great deal to make the authorities back down, but we're starting to see the first hints of this. In Turkey, the VAR officials having to come from other countries, so the big clubs won't have the local people. Juan Laporta threatening legal action over VAR non-review in the case of the game between Clásico between Real Madrid and Barcelona recently. But this is the first time that somebody has said this technology is available to us. Indeed, it's only last year that the head of the Swedish FA, Fredrik Reinfeldt, used the phrase, "It is our future." Well, it ain't anymore, Andy. Tell us what's happened.
Yeah, and I think it's really important in terms of Sweden to underline the difference between what the fans feel and what the FA has felt for a while. So you talk about the president coming out and saying that. He also said this week, sort of trying to cover himself, it seemed, that UEFA had suggested to him that it would become obligatory for the Allsvenskan to accept that. Now, of course, we have to look at the club model in Sweden, because most of the clubs are member-owned. That therefore means that those fans and their distaste for the concept has to be taken into account and has to be the club's official position when they take it to the vote. So, you know, it's seemed for a long time that it wouldn't happen. This was a doubling down of that feeling, a re-officialisation of that, if you like. Because if we go back to the end of the last Swedish season, so if we go back to November last year, Malmö are playing Elfsborg in a game to decide the title. Elfsborg are top, they need a draw at Malmö to win. Malmö need to win the game, to win the championship again, as they often do. The game's decided on a penalty, scored by Isaac Kiese-Tellin. It's not an uncontroversial penalty. It's not the worst penalty you've ever seen, but it's not without controversy. It is discussed.
Sure.
Elsewhere, Elfsborg, earlier in the game, felt that they should have had a penalty. But the feeling afterwards is that despite it not being managed by VAR, that the referee and his assistant made a decision, they came to that decision and stuck with it. That's fine. That's part of football, and that is the football that we as a supporter community want. The fact that some stuff goes for you and some stuff doesn't. Now, I think it's different in every country, isn't it? Because we have spoken about what each country needs from VAR, and what each country needs from VAR is a very different thing. I think what's ultimately problematic is the way that we felt it would work for us in England is that it would be the elimination of mistakes. I think now we all realise that that is simply not possible. And also, I think the thing that we overlooked, and I've discussed this before, in England, is the way we perceive the game. Maybe we haven't really truly examined the way that we perceive the game. It's so important to us to feel that the right thing is done, rather than necessarily the letter of the law is followed.
Sure.
We spend a lot of time arguing about technically correct decisions, whereas in Italy, Portugal, Turkey, for example, the fact that the letter of the law is followed and justice is done is the most important thing. So if something's given as offside by VAR and it's like 2 centimetres offside, and obviously in Portugal, if you look at TV broadcasts, on the replays, there's actually a little pair of lines and it shows you how many centimetres it's on or offside by. It's very important to demonstrate that. Now, I don't think that is something, say if you had a similar graphic on English TV, I don't think that would move the needle for most people.
No, I don't, Andy, and I think you're absolutely right to remind us that there is a spectrum of opinion about this. But in England, for instance, I'm pretty much convinced that the boat has sailed, that no matter what they do with it, it's going to be the bane of fans' life, because people have come to hate it. They don't trust it. It's destroyed the experience in the stadium. It's destroyed the experience on television. I'll give you an example today from my own life, and I wish to God this wasn't about Spurs, to sound biased, but Arsenal score, Spurs get an equaliser through Mickey van der Ven. I'm watching with my Arsenal supporting wife. She said, "Why aren't you jumping up and down?" I said, "Because they're going to disallow it. They're going to find a reason. The ball has pinballed around. They will find a reason to disallow it." Now, Van der Ven was given offside by the VAR, but they got the rule wrong, because it was Tommy Yasu, wasn't it? Swung a leg at it. He shouldn't have been disallowed. They don't even know their own rules, laws, whatever they are going to be. And I think I hear what you're saying, Andy, and I'm up for semi-automated offsides, the thing you're talking about, which would help. The rest of it now, if they're going to make mistakes in the VAR trucks, and of course we saw Liverpool robbed at Tottenham earlier in the season, and there are numerous examples, they might as well let them make the mistakes on the pitch. Of course there's too much vested interest, too much money, too much employment involved with it, but my bottom line here, you talk about justice versus the perception of the spirit of the game, but beyond all that even is the experience of the game for the paying customers, which has been knackered by the way they've done VAR in Britain.
It's the worst, and I think if you see German crowds react to that, I think fans are less bothered about what's right or wrong in terms of the 100% accuracy of the decision.
Not just down to 2 centimetres of a bloke retreating from offside, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I think that the way that German fans perceive it, and you can feel it every time you go to a Bundesliga game, this is messing with our matchday experience. Like, people feel that much more even than they do in England. The fact that this is a rubbish experience for us as paying customers, and we don't really want to put up with it. This is disturbing the flow. This is disturbing, like, the emotion that we feel invested in. And I think that's really, really important to examine, to be perfectly honest. But I don't know. I think when we talk about how it might move on, I think the great unsaid for the moment is that it has become clear, and it's become clear particularly in England, I might argue, that refereeing on the field and being a VAR ref are two completely different jobs. So if we are going to persist with VAR, it's going to have to change, I think, the way that referees are trained, because we have to accept that it's two different jobs. At the moment, we're just getting the best on-field refs. So we'll get a situation where refs are brought up in the same way as ever. They come from the grassroots, they make their way up through the leagues, you eventually get to the Premier League, the FIFA list, Champions League, etc.
And suddenly you're in a VAR truck.
And so, yeah, ultimately, to get to that point, you're talking about 10 years of going up through, like, when you're talking about you're refereeing in leagues that don't have VAR to get to a point where you can VAR. So it's like a relevant experience for that particular job, I would say, and it's like wasted time. Also, I think the technology, if you've been in the VAR room, you know it's actually quite intuitive. I went into the Bundesliga, Kölner Keller, as they call it, the Köln Cellar in Cologne, and it's in a TV studio, it's on the banks of the Rhine. And you go in there, and the technology, what's the most striking thing about it, and it, of course, is very well resourced, it takes a really long time to do everything. A really long time to do everything. And I think you need people in there who don't just know the rules of the game, but are really, really intuitively connected to the technology. And I think you don't have that.
You see these guys, and it is usually guys, struggling to draw the lines and all the rest of it. You've got teenage kids, and I guarantee you that the technology is much more intuitive to them than it is to these fellas in the VAR trucks. 14-year-olds would not be taking 2.5 minutes to decide where the line goes and how to get it onto a screen. I'm convinced of it.
No, I agree. I agree.
Listen, we are going to. It took such a long time to bring it in. It's going to be even harder to get it out. But as long as you stick to the line that it is destroying the match-going experience, because that's what clubs, you know, from the moment. And I started going to football when football fans were treated like cattle. Really, there were no facilities. The toilets were extraordinarily bad. The stadiums, as we know now, were unsafe, and all the rest of that. From the moment they turned around and said to us, "You're going to have to pay a lot more now because we're part of the entertainment industry," okay, we all bought that. We bit our tongues where the prices have gone up to 30, 40, 50, and in some cases £70 for a ticket for a football match. But if there's no entertainment, if you can't actually enjoy it, then I'm afraid we're heading for a collision in all this. So UEFA, they want to butt out, and because if they make this thing compulsory, then they're complicit in it as well. I'm not against technology, I'm against the way it's being used, and I'm against the way it's affecting the ability of the fans to enjoy that blissful moment, particularly of a goal going into the net, as I experienced myself this afternoon. More on this tomorrow night, no doubt, on Kickoff on TalkSport, where I'll be there with Danny Murphy and Darren Lewis, and I dare say this will be coming up big style again, including that ludicrous decision by one of our leading referees to blow up as Liverpool were about to score a goal, and then he had to pretend that the goalkeeper was injured. I mean, I don't know why the referee didn't try. Just throw yourself to the ground, make out you're injured. Don't try and cover up using the player safety as an excuse. I'm going to be honest, I've grown to hate it. I don't want to separate my love from the game. That will never go, I don't think. But I hate what's happened to it at the moment. And Sweden is the first group of fans to say, we just can't tolerate it. Maybe more will follow. Following next year on Trans Europe Express, we're going around the leagues and starting with the Women's Champions League. That's up next.
Welcome to 32 Red Online Casino! Incredible! Play over 500 games, including exclusive slots, the Cube, Tipping Point, and I'm a Celebrity Get Me Out of Here! Join 32 Red and get a bang tiny welcome bonus up to 150 quid. 150 quid? That's incredible! Visit 32red.com to claim. 18 plus BGambleAware.org. New accounts only. Minimum £10 deposit. Up to 50 times wagering. Max rates apply. Visit 32red.com for full terms.
Here's an offer from Volkswagen we think you'll approve of. Get 5.9% APR representative on an all-electric approved used Volkswagen ID4 or ID5 up to 36 months old on Solutions PCP and 2 years servicing. Your Volkswagen approved used retailer will also include 2 years warranty and 2 years roadside assistance as standard. An all-electric ID4 or ID5 to drive away today. What's not to approve of? Don't miss out. Offer ends April 30th. Search Volkswagen approved used ID.
Indemnities may be required. At participating retailers, vehicles up to 100,000 miles of activation. ID4 and ID5 models only. Volkswagen Finance.
DIY heroes, we've got work to do. At Lidl, screwdriver sets are $7.99. Expendable tree loppers are $16.99. And wet-dry vacuum cleaners are just $39.99. Parkside Tools, you've got this. Now exclusively at Lidl. Subject to availability, selected stores, GB only.
At BetMGM, we know how to put on a show. So we don't just do offers, we do golden offers like this.
MGM Millions, our supersized jackpot where right now you can win over £18 million.
Get ready for the golden era in online casino. BetMGM, it's showtime.
Minimum 10 to game stake. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Tuesday night, live championship football.
TalkSport 2, an international cracker.
Coventry versus Ipswich.
Preemptive build-up as the bell strikes 7. Main event from 8 p.m.
Tuesday night on TalkSport 2.
Crunching tackle comes in from Buchanan, and this could be trouble. This could be trouble. It's a yellow card, and it's going to be followed by a red.
I honestly think it's harsh.
Can the Chelsea goalkeeper prevent Barcelona from taking the lead? The Romper hits the ball, and it's cool, it's calm, it's composed, and it gives Barcelona the advantage.
I didn't think it was a foul, let alone a yellow card, and I think that that is probably the worst decision in UEFA Women's Champions League history.
Yeah, you heard it all here on Talk Sport. The semi-final of the Women's Champions League involving Chelsea and Barcelona. Controversy aplenty. Andy, first of all, we'll come on to the final in just a little while. What did you make of Emma Hayes' feeling that the sending off was inexcusable?
I think it was really harsh. I wouldn't disagree with that, just as we heard on commentary. I thought Keisha Buchanan made a clean tackle. I didn't think it was a foul either. I think she was really unfortunate. But I think put that front and centre of why Chelsea lost the tie, I don't think that's correct. I think Barcelona are the better team. Of course it made a difference. But if we're going to pick out individual decisions, I mean, if we go back to last season, a clear dive by Lauren James got Chelsea a penalty in the last minute of extra time against Lyon, which then led to them going on winning in penalties in a game they weren't really in and getting to the final and knocking one of the best teams out of it. So, you know, I think to talk about a decision in the middle of a game like that and say that was the reason, I don't think that's reasonable.
I guess she was pretty sore. No one wants to
of
lose.
course.
And also, you know, this was her last chance to win Champions League as a coach. So, of course, she has won it as an assistant coach with Arsenal back in the day, if I'm not mistaken. A very fresh-faced Emma is in the team photograph. She's at Arsenal. They won all her trophies that year, and there she is.
Yeah, well, it was still the UEFA Women's Cup, yeah.
Yes, and when she was assistant Mick Akers, wasn't she? Absolutely. You say, you know, it wasn't the absolute deciding thing, and of course she would be the first to admit, I'm sure. Not only is Barcelona's women's team arguably the best in European football, it's arguably one of the most dominant sports sides in the world at the moment in team games.
Yeah, and I think they've taken women's football in Europe onto the next level by filling Camp Nou for their big ties, going back over the last couple of years. You know, they threw people all over the world. They've been brilliant, and I think this is going to be the perfect final, really, because you're looking at the best side in women's football at the moment and of the last couple of years, and the best women's club team of all time in Lyon, who did an extraordinary job actually in getting past PSG in this semi-final. They were 2-0 down in the first leg, came back to win 3-2, and then went and won at Parc des Princes today to go through. Now, Lyon have gone through a profound amount of change over the last couple of years. Firstly, everyone else has caught up. You know, there's some big clubs that have invested a lot of money, and we talked about Barcelona. You know, you have Real Madrid to a lesser extent. Bayern are bigger than they were. You know, Chelsea have come on in leaps and bounds as well, of course, under Emma Hayes.
City.
And yeah, although they've been struggling to qualify for the Champions League over the last couple of years. Obviously, if they're champions this year of the WSL, that'll be helpful to them. Yeah, but I think you look at the change of ownership at Lyon as well. It's just been bought by Michelle Kang, the US impresario, and you know it's been a lot of changes for them. Having said that, they have got such a winning culture that they continue to stay competitive. You know, they're still imperious at home as well. So how they get on against Barcelona in this final, and remember, last time these two came up to each other in the final, Barcelona completely choked, mainly due to the experience. So, dying to put that right this time.
Thank you for that, Andy. Well, you're going to go to Portugal now, and today's result. Sporting dropping a couple of points has kept the league tight race. But I really want to talk about what I think is one of the most extraordinary stories in European football just now. Not only has a relatively young man, Andrea Villas-Boas, former manager of Spurs, Chelsea and Porto, of course, removed in the club elections the head honcho of Pinto da Costa after 42 years in charge. But Andy, I don't know if da Costa was expecting this. He has been absolutely wiped out in the election. Yeah,
and you know, this was something that was extraordinary. If you around Portugal and around Porto in the days, weeks coming up to the election, no one really expected Villas-Boas to win. He won. There was a record turnout of over 27,000 people on Saturday. he won 80% of the vote. Now that is beyond a landslide. It's extraordinary. And he's talked a good game over recent months, and it's been hard for him. It's not come without personal cost. You know, I think his house was attacked. People who worked for him were attacked. There was intimidation from certain sections of the
Scandalous, all that is scandalous.
who are loyal to Pinto da Costa. Absolutely.